What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. Now, the question always gets brought up of, why do you have 3 monks? Why do you have 4 dryads? Why are you doing this? Now, obviously, to the brand new player, you're not going to be able to min-max to this extent without spending either all of your defender medals or real-life money. So this is mainly targeted to the player that's been playing the game for a little while, has a nice selection of defender medals built up, and really wants to focus on progression. Now, with your Ascension level, and as it grows, it does not give you a large, absurd amount of power like a lot of people think that it might. What it does give you is the availability to optimize more than one attack, more than one defense, or more than one playstyle on that particular hero. Now, of course, the easiest way to make this happen is to go with a hero that you hybrid that's going to do multiple functions that don't have Ascension that conflict with each other. For example, we've got this Squire here. Now, this particular Squire, I want to do some slinging of the sword beams, and I want to make it happen and beam it up. Now, in addition to that, I want this Squire to be the one placing down my blockades. And luckily, these 2 Ascensions do not conflict with each other. In fact, most heroes, you do have the ability to make your DPS hero a waller if that particular hero does have some sort of blockade available. So let's take a peek at this Squire. Now, as I mentioned, the Ascensions do not conflict with each other. This hero is going to be doing damage. This is going to be a primary DPS hero, so the very first thing we always want to do is go into hero crit chance. Now, I've got 20 points into my hero crit chance. Now, this is how you would set up for your first 60 Ascension levels. You're going to want to go 20 points into, like this particular Squire is going to be doing the sword beam. So I'm going to have 20 points into the sword beam. I'm going to have another 20 points in the defense category into my blockade health. And then another 20 into defense, or pardon me, hero crit chance. Now, these Ascensions do not conflict in any way whatsoever, and you can effectively maximize the amount of power you're going to get out of your sword beams and out of your blockades with this particular build. Now, as you continue on with the build, you'd want to go ahead and go into more things that are going to assist the Squire. Of course, we want lots of sword beams to throw, so my next 20 points should go into ability mana so that I never run out of any of my juice. Gots to get those sword beams flowing. Now, as you look through that utility category, there is nothing in this category that is going to affect the blockades at all, other than defense crit chance and defense crit damage, and these will both have really a minimal effect on your blockades, as you're not building your blockades to do damage, you're building your blockades as a last resort to protect your walls. So, at Ascension 120, your Ascension would look something like this. So we would have 40 points into the sword beam, 40 points into blockade health, and then 20 points into hero crit chance, and 20 points into ability mana. Now, as you build out your hero, you're going to want to continue to dump into specializing the hero damage, where next I would actually go, just for quality of life, into movement speed. I would keep going directly into spike blockade health, and I would keep going into sword beam unless you're having issues in other areas. So if you do like the seismic slam, by all means throw some points into seismic slam. However, remember that your sword beam is your bread and butter, and that's where your principal amount of points are going to go into. Now, in the defense category, of course, all we're doing with this hero is building spike blockades, so we'd want it right into the spike blockades. And we now have our hero crit chance, our ability mana, and our movement speed maxed through Ascension. Now, this is 60 points in each category, meaning you would have to have 180 Ascension level to acquire these 60 points. Once again, none of the Ascension is conflicting with each other, and that is the reason it works. Now let's take a look at this Mystic. Now let's say, for example, that I want to do 2 defenses on this Mystic. I do not want DPS on it, but I do want to be able to place 2 different defenses effectively. Now first off, at low Ascension, mixing multiple things that will have Ascension that conflict with each other means that something is going to be on the low end of this. Now for this particular example, I'm going to say I want to go Viper's Fangs to throw down some walls, and then I want to go with Sand Vipers as well to get those snake laser beams flying. Now in this particular setup, I am choosing the weakest thing to be as the walls, as in an ideal setup, as most veteran players know, your walls are the last resort. You really don't want to be in a position where you're killing all the mobs at your walls. If you need your walls healthy to survive the map, then it may be a time to take a look at your damage dealing defenses. So in this particular situation, we will have conflicts, and my walls are going to be the lower defense on the priority totem pole. So what I'm going to do here is, in my utility category, all I'm going to focus on is number 1, defense crit chance, as of course this is 100% focused on building. So defense crit chance is just crucial. Now, in your offense category, none of the points even matter, as we're not DPSing on this hero. I'm just going to throw him into hero damage just to see the comparison. Now we move on to the defense category. Now you can do one of 2 things here. You can either put your first 20 points into defense speed. What I'm going to do, however, is I'm going to do my best to maximize the amount of damage that my Sand Vipers are going to put out. So instead, I'm going to put these 20 points directly into Viper damage. Now when we look at this setup, this is what you would look like at Ascension level 60, and we've got 20 points into anything, as it doesn't matter. I'm going to go 20 points into Sand Viper damage, and then 20 points into defense crit chance. Now, I have chosen the wall here as being the flimsier target, and I'm not going to put any points into my Viper's Fangs whatsoever. Now, I will have walls that are a little bit on the squishy side compared to someone who did put points into, say, Viper's Fang health. However, I am going to put down walls that will be semi-effective, and then also Sand Vipers on the same hero. Now the problem you'll run into if you try to mix multiple damage dealing defenses is really once you get past that first 60 Ascension level. Now let's take a look at a hero that we want to go multi-damaging defenses. We're going to take this Abyss Lord for the example and take a look at the Ascension. Now we do know with absolutely any builder whatsoever, your first 20 points, 100% has to go into defense crit chance. So let's get our first 20 points in utility category into defense crit chance. That's going to give us 20 points for offense, which we're not going to use this hero to do offense. It's a builder only, so it doesn't matter where you put the points. Now, say on this Abyss Lord, we want to go Archers and Ramsters. Now, at this point, we are going to have to make a choice. And the choice is going to be one of these defenses are going to be your primary defense you use, and the other defense is going to be a much, much weaker secondary defense. We have 20 points at this point to spend in the defense category. Going 10 points into Ramsters and 10 points into Archers means you've got 2 mediocre towers instead of having 1 good tower. So you want to pick someone to come on top and another defense to be the lower priority. Now, say for this example, I decided to go Archers. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put my first 20 points directly into Archers, and this is what my Ascension would look like at Ascension level 60. We'd have 20 points into hero damage, 20 points into skeletal archer damage, and 20 points into defense crit chance. Now, since we decided Archers, we're going to want to go to the Archer range gambit next, as we want our strongest tower to have our biggest range. So the next 50 points you want to get in the utility category should all go into your archers. Let's go ahead and slap those in. Now, of course, we're going to have 50 points to spend in offense. Doesn't matter, as we're not DPSing on this hero at all. And then now we have 50 points to spend in the defense category. Now, you have several choices here. Since you are building on 2 defenses, you could get a smaller amount of benefit by putting 20 points into defense speed. Let's go ahead and do that. And then I have 30 more points available here, and we can throw those directly into the archers. Now, once again, you do not want to split. You want one defense that is a powerhouse, and then your other defense, which is just a secondary that's not used in a primary basis. So at this point, we have 70 points into each Ascension category, and our total Ascension would be 210. Now, as you can see here, it took all the way up to Ascension 210 before we could really maximize our archers. Now, at this point, once you get your range gambit maxed, it is safe to go ahead and split. Now, of course, you're going to get the most power out of your archers if you continue to put your defense Ascension into your archers. However, if you want to get the best of both worlds and get yourself a little bit of archer power and have some ramster power as well, then your next 50 points you'd want to go into the range gambit of the ramsters. Now we have 50 points to spend here. We're going to put all 50 of those directly into the ramsters. And then we've got another 50 to spend here. However, since we're not DPSing, once again, the offense doesn't matter. Put the points wherever you want. Now, in this particular example, we've got the starting Ascension to maximize, to our best extent, 2 separate towers. Now, this is prioritizing both towers to this point, and as you look, with 120 points put into each category, that means it would require 360 Ascension level to get to this point. Now, from here on out, of course, you'd want to go directly into defense crit damage. Pick the tower you like the best out of the 2 and start going more into that. And then, of course, the offense doesn't matter. So hopefully this helps everyone understand why you split heroes, the benefit to having multiple heroes, and the limitations you face when trying to build a hero that can do it all. Remember that a jack of all trades is a master of none, and if you want to get the most out of one particular defense, you're going to have to specialize that particular hero until you get adequate Ascension to cover all of the bases. So thank you once again. Click that like button, please subscribe to the channel. Lots more Dungeon Defenders 2 coming soon. I cannot wait for this next update, and I'm really hoping and assuming that this particular video will be outdated once the big update hits, and hopefully we get some new Ascension trees to play around with. So thank you once again, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.